Hi there, I'm Vincent Bos and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing this happens when you stop pursuing your ex. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.datetome.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. Type in the comments any questions you might have, and I'll choose one to answer in my free newsletter, which will be released this Sunday, the 27th of October, 2024. To read this, make sure you subscribe to my free newsletter by clicking the link in the description. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing this happens when you stop pursuing your ex. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, you would have likely heard people suggest that you stop chasing them. But what happens if you actually stop, and how can this help you? In today's podcast, I'll be discussing 3 things that happen when you stop pursuing your ex. So let's get straight into this, and point number 1 is you stop the slide. So I always say when people are going through a difficult time, in particular when you're going through a breakup, you need to make sure that things stop getting worse. You need to make sure that you stop standing on a glass floor and make sure that you stop falling lower and lower and lower. We need to stop the slide. And one of the best ways that you can stop the slide is to stop pursuing your ex. And the reason I say this is because if you chase your ex, you are not likely to be helping your cause. When your now ex-dumper decided to end the relationship, they were feeling a low level of romantic emotional attraction towards you. If they were feeling anything but a low level, they wouldn't have ended the relationship. So what does this actually mean? Well, unfortunately, it means that they no longer want to be with you in a romantic connection, and quite possibly, they don't want to speak with you in any way, shape, or form. Even if they do suggest they would like to maintain a platonic friendship, this is something that I don't suggest you do. I'm not saying be rude. I'm just saying make sure that you only have the type of relationship and connection that you desire yourself. So if you are being offered a platonic friendship and you don't want that, this is not something you should be accepting, because ultimately it wouldn't make you happy. But a lot of the time, this isn't even on the table. A lot of the time, someone ends a relationship and they're no longer wanting to speak with you, let alone spend time with you beyond the point of a breakup. They've lost attraction. They've made a decision. They believe that their life is going to be more fulfilling for them going forward on a different path. This isn't something that you want to hear, but it is the reality. So when we consider all of those points, what do you think is going to happen if you keep pursuing your ex? Do you think they're going to think of you in a better light, or do you think they're going to be thinking of you in a worse light? Well, unfortunately, they are more likely to feel frustrated with you rather than feeling like they've made an error of judgment. Of course, you might only be pursuing them because you believe in your own mind, but if you can speak with them, you can help them see the light. You can clear their mind. You can say, hey, we're working well together. This was a blip. We can get through this. We should be back together. We should never split up. You think you can talk things through with your ex. You think you can make them understand, but you two should be better together. But what you need to realise, dumpees, is that they don't see it like that. What you need to realise is that they've likely thought things through for a long time before they action for breakup. They're done. But this is only in the moment. So right now they're done, but in the future they may change their mind. At this moment in time, though, they're certainly not considering reconnecting. They can only come to that conclusion. You can't persuade them. And hence we come to point number 1, and the fact that you can stop the slide by making sure things don't get any worse, by making sure that you stop annoying your ex. They're not thinking of you in the best way right now. Whether this is in a physical, emotional, spiritual, certainly in a relationship sense, they don't see you as the right option for them right now. You need to make sure you don't make things any worse than they already are. And if you decide to stop pursuing your ex, if you stop chasing them, if you stop calling, texting, knocking on their door, you're going to make sure that you no longer make things any worse. You're stopping the rot. You're making sure things don't fall any further, because if you're not pursuing them, you can't be annoying them. You can't be frustrating them. And even if you think, I'm not annoying them, I just want to grab a word. Think about how many times you've probably already thought about this and said this to them. They've had this conversation with you, no doubt numerous times. And even if you think, I've not had my chance to say my piece, you've got to realise that they've made a decision that they want to go down a different path. It's not fair. Often you might feel that you haven't had the chance to say everything you want to say, but put yourself in their position just for a moment, even if you don't really want to. And that is the fact that right now, unfortunately, they don't want to be with you. So if you are continually coming towards them, whether this is in a physical sense or maybe via phone or messaging, whatever it may be, if you are continuing going towards them when they don't want you there, that is going to be seen as annoying, frustrating, and unfortunately is going to make them see you in an even worse light than they currently see you in this moment. So you need to stop the slide. You need to stop things getting worse. And the way you can do that is stop pursuing your ex. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast. Please like this video if you're watching on YouTube. And if you have a new hype feature, please hype this video as well. If you like my content, subscribe to the channel to keep updated. And point number 2 is you almost close the door. So today we're speaking about this happens when you stop pursuing your ex. And point number 2 is really, really important. And that is that you almost close the door, but you don't. The door is being closed by you, but it's not shut. It's certainly not locked. So what do I mean by this? Well, they get to see what life is like without your safety net. They get to see what life is like without you. And you might think, well, that is what they want. Well, yes, it might be what they want, but they don't really know what it's actually going to be like until they experience it. And what our hope has to be is that they miss you. Well, guess what? They can't miss you if you're always in their orbit. We need to make sure that they actually see what they wanted to experience. And although that might sound scary, you can't get your ex back unless they've actually tried life without you. If they have decided they want to end the relationship, then they're not going to get back with you until they've at least seen what it's like. Now, I would suggest that as scary as that might be, if you can live your life the right way, become a better version of yourself, become someone who is even more attractive than they last remembered, well, you're going to give yourself a better chance of getting them back than if you keep pursuing them. Remember what I said, you're almost closing the door, but you're not closing it fully, you're certainly not locking it. And what this means is, you're not blocking your dumper, you're just not pursuing them. Now, of course, if you feel that blocking them is the only way you can protect your mental health, you might need to go down that route and that path yourself. You must protect yourself. However, if you do block your ex, you have to acknowledge it's going to be very difficult to be able to reconnect with them. They need to have an opportunity and a possibility of reaching out to you. So yes, block them to protect your mental health, but if you can get through this without doing that, that is what I'm talking about. You're leaving the door slightly ajar. You're almost closing the door, but you're not. And it's the perfect position because they get to see what life is like without you. They get to see what life is like without you being their safety net, which I would suggest there is a good chance that they will then start to miss you more than they expected. But because the door isn't closed, the door isn't locked, they do have opportunity to think, oh no, I've made a mistake. Let me run back and barge through that door once more and open it up because I can. If you block them, then you are locking that door. But if you don't block them, you haven't locked the door is ajar, they can come to the conclusion they've made a mistake, and this is where you stand a chance of reconnecting. Your ex-dumper is going to need to live their own life without you for a period of time. From my research, the likelihood is that your ex-dumper is going to have to go down their own path for around 6 to 12 months on average. If they don't do that, they're not experiencing life without you. If they don't do that, they will never see that the grass isn't greener. They need to do it. So you may as well let them get on with it ASAP, because the sooner that they do, hopefully, the sooner they might come back. Now, can I guarantee they will come to that conclusion? No, I can't. Can I guarantee that they won't find someone that they feel is a better fit? No, I can't guarantee that either. But I'm just saying that statistically speaking, it's very difficult to find a new long-term compatible partner within the next year or so post-breakup is very, very tough. It's very, very challenging. So generally speaking, if they do try and go out into the world making new connections, the likelihood is they won't find anybody better than you, they won't find anybody who's compatible, and they will come to the conclusion the grass isn't greener. Again, I can't promise that, but they are the stats. That is the likely outcome. So you may as well let them get through this time without you as soon as they can, because that will hopefully bring them back to you much quicker than if you chase and pursue, because you're just delaying what they need to do. If you chase and pursue, they're still going to have to do this. I call it the single honeymoon period. They've got to live it. So why delay it? You're only delaying your own potential possibility of reconnecting with them. Let them do it. Let's see what happens. Concentrate on you and remember that you are the A side. Remember that this isn't about them. It's about you finding your happiness. And if you don't get them back, you can find someone even better. Now, if you would like advice and support about how to try and increase the chance of one day getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your unique specific situation. Go to my website, www.dateme.tips, for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. Talking about your feelings can also improve your mental health. It helps prevent the buildup of negative emotions, which can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. Speak your heart to free your mind. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast. If you feel that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description. And remember to type your questions in the comments if you would like the possibility of me answering your question in my newsletter on Sunday. And point number 3 is you become more attractive. So today we're speaking about this happens when you stop pursuing your ex. And you might be confused when I say that you become more attractive just by not pursuing your ex. But it's absolutely true. You will become more attractive in their eyes. You're growing your value. If you're not chasing them, you are showing that you're not desperate for them. If you're not desperate for them, it shows that you value yourself higher than if you're on your hands and knees, begging and pleading and reasoning, trying to get them back. Also, remember that attraction grows in space. Now, this is where people get things confused some of the time. People will say to me, well, if I'm trying to attract someone new, how can space help? How can I attract someone new and then vanish without really even them getting to know me? Well, that is because it's very, very different. If you're trying to attract someone new, you're absolutely right. You need to be in their mindset. They can't miss you and want you if they don't really know who they are. But remember, your ex isn't a stranger. Your ex isn't someone new. They know you. You are in their mindset. So this is completely different to attracting someone new. Attraction grows in space. Yes, you need to be in their mindset, but then space can help you. And because it's your ex, you're already in their mindset. This isn't somebody you've bumped into once at work and then you're wondering why they don't seem to be interested in you. You need to be building rapport with someone new and then potentially doing some of that push-pull. Whereas right now, you're in a position where this is your ex, they know you inside and out. We now need to stop pursuing them, take a step back, and let attraction grow within the space between you. Additionally, there is nothing more powerful than rejection. Although that might sound a bit of a paradox, it's absolutely true right now that you can reject your dumper. Even though they don't want you to chase them, they do expect you to chase them. Even if it's just on a subconscious level, they are expecting you to chase them and to push them onto that pedestal. So if you don't do that, you're technically rejecting them in their subconscious. And there's nothing more powerful than rejection. And if you want evidence of that, then why are you listening to today's podcast? Because you feel rejected by your dumper, and that is pulling you towards them. I dare say you find them more appealing and attractive now than when you were actually together in a relationship. Maybe you feel that you were complacent together. Well, the reason you were complacent is because you didn't have that fear that you have now. They've rejected you, and you are now feeling that level of attraction increase. You can do the same to them by making sure you don't pursue your ex.